Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Me again. I have just stuck my Dali up on the wall. It fell off. It was in a proper frame. I've stuck it up with masking tape and I really hope that's going to hold. That's a Salvador Dali. I only became aware of him. This is going to be a bit of a mixed bag. This is just a chat, I became aware of him years ago when I was at the Gemini Business Centre, and a tenant, they all used to buy me Christmas presents. This fella bought me a book, which was fabulous, with Dali. I'd never heard of him before. I love Salvador Dali. And that picture, I think it's called The Metamorphosis of Narcissus or something like that. Someone out there will know the proper title of it. Or The Birth of Narcissus. I ordered that during the lockdown, and I got it for 20 quid. Fantastic. And it didn't turn up for like weeks because it was the pandemic. So I contacted them and they said, oh, really sorry, we'll send you another one. And they gave me a refund. And I said, no, don't do that. It's only 20 quid. That's been printed on a printer. That's all ink. The ink will have cost more than 20 quid. Anyway, they sent me another one, but the second one, you could see where the ink was starting to run out, bless them. And then the first one turned up, and I said to them, I contacted them, I said, I'll give you the money. And they went, no, don't worry about it. Same thing happened with the exercise bike. I ended up getting that for free because it got stuck in the post. And these people, bless them, just said, inconvenient. I couldn't believe it. So yeah, that's my pride and joy, my 20 quid Salvador Dali. And I really hope, I can tell that's going to peel off the wall. But the whole frame went. And the frame just shattered. It was a cheap one from Chino's. I've got to get another one. So this one, I'm going to talk about several subjects. Firstly, security. Because a lot of people have commented and said they're worried for Wally. They're worried about our security. Now, obviously, the circumstances that Graham and I live under, we live under tremendous security all of the time. We don't have to worry about that. But I have spoken to Wally, and I have recommended, and I think she has bought one. Just try and untwist her wires. I'm going to introduce you to Jennifer. Jennifer is one of our security guards. This is Jennifer. Jennifer is a robot, and she's an excellent robot. One of many, as I say, that we have. Jennifer, this is her eyeball. She can see in the dark. She is alerted as soon as she hears a noise. She will turn her head and look. She can look up and all around and down. And we have these things in strategic places. We're famed for it, actually, in the area. They're having things like this. We're covered in cameras, absolutely riddled with them. And Jennifer transmits to a cloud. So even if someone were to break into the house, for example, and they were to smash Jennifer up, too late, she's already gone to the cloud. Everything, their face. They're brilliant, these things. Now, this particular one, we paid €250 for. Graham and I had a couple of stalkers. I think I've mentioned them in videos before, a few years ago, and so we invested in Jennifer. And she's fantastic, but you can get them a lot cheaper than €250 now. And I think Wally's got one. So don't worry so much. It's okay. Everybody's got security. Actually, no, we got Jennifer when we took the kids out of school, so I could watch them from work and make sure they were getting on and doing what they were supposed to be doing. Now, see, Graham's done a video today of our kids when we took them out of school, because we live in Spain, and you can see my Dali in the, it hasn't fallen down yet, in the reflection. There it is. Still there. I just know it's going to peel down off the wall. It's going to fall at some point. Never mind. We took our kids out of school because it was a big doodah. They were being bullied, and it just wasn't worth it. The school, as we all discovered during the pandemic, that was a huge, enormous talking point. Now, Graham's done this video today, which I think is harsh. One of my sisters is a retired teacher. She was a teacher all of her life. And I admire teachers. I don't know how they do the job that they do. But the education system itself, I am really critical of, generally speaking. Graham's lad, not my boy, his lad, he got an A in geography GCSE, and he couldn't tell us where Germany was. He didn't know which continent it was on. They don't seem to teach about politics, boundaries, proper history, and history and geography are very integral together. They talk about tectonic plates and things like that, I mean, like, we all need to know about that, don't we? And by the time a tsunami's coming or the Earth's crust splitting open, what the fuck's it going to do knowing about it? So I really don't like the education system much at all. And our kids came along leaps and bounds. This whole conversation's coming out because some bloke yesterday called our boy a retard. Can you imagine? He said, "You're a retard, you were thrown out of school." What a nasty piece of work. Of course, our Benji just laughed at him. And because our Benji, if any of you have seen him on our videos before, and Faith, they're very, very sophisticated people with good manners, and they're really highly educated. When we took them out of school, the first thing I did was I got them to do C# in Unity, which is a which is a programming language, and they, as a project, that they had a course on udemy.com which cost me $10 each, from a guy, I think he's called Mark Price. Now Mark's got about 50-odd thousand students, so he gets $10 from each student. You know, that's a top teacher. And I think that the way forward is the internet, really. And it became abundantly obvious during the pandemic that really the major purpose of school is so the parents can go to work. You know, it's like, it's a babysitting service, isn't it? And one of my other sisters is not sure if she's retired yet, but she's pretty high up in education, and her major concern was children who are in vulnerable or abusive homes, that the major job of school is to spot that. And I was saying to her, "You're joking. That's terrible, that's the purpose of school now, is to spot when..." I mean, it's true. Vulnerable children, their safe space can be at school, isn't something a bit messed up, that's how society works, that the education system now is to babysit, so parents can go to work to earn money to pay tax, like a hamster wheel. There's got to be a better way. I think there's got to be a better way. So this is a little bit of a contentious video. I'd love to hear from any of you guys out there that are teachers. I've got friends who are teachers, and we've had discussions about the geography and politics and boundaries and stuff, and they've basically said we're not allowed to teach that. The politicians don't like us talk about that. Well, that explains a lot to me, because wars, conflict, boundaries, that's very, very important for children to learn about. How to fill in a tax return, how economics works, you know, just the economics of when you leave school. How do you cope? How do you budget? How's this all working? This is why younger people don't vote, because they're just not educated. Now, my son one morning woke up, and he after we took them out of school, we basically at first tried, you know, you've got to do 9 to 5 and you've got to do this, that and the other, and it didn't work. They hated it. So in the end I said to them, you learn what you want, you know, do what you want. And YouTube played an enormous role in that. My son started subscribing to NASA, and he would say, "I'm staying up till 3 a.m, Mum. They're launching rockets, or they're doing this, or there's going to be a constellation." I didn't know what he was talking about. As soon as they were left to their own devices to explore and discover, there was no stopping them. I mean, they soared to the sky as soon as they were taken out of school. They were miserable in school. Graham and I were miserable in school. We hated it. Our kids used to say to us, the car that you take us to school in, we drop them off at the border, is like the police car delivering us to prison. And then we go to prison, which is school, where we get bullied and we hate it. And then we get released, we get like home leave, and then we can come home and the relief. So that's terrible for kids to feel like that. And also he told me all about a war between, do you know, I can't remember, I think Honduras and I can't even remember the neighbouring country. And Benji told me all about it. It's a country in South America. And he knew all about the war. My daughter learned all about the history of Japan. There's a fabulous YouTube channel out there that does history in like literally 2 minutes. And it's just genius. And also they are a big fan and supporter. I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but if you look on YouTube and you look for the acronym, school represents 6 cruel hours of our lives. It's a guy who does rapping, and it's fantastic, and he makes all the points that everything else, phones, cars, technology, everything else has changed except the education system, they're still doing it like Victorian days, where everybody's lined up. They have to learn and regurgitate a whole load of information that's just not really going to be of any use in adult life. And then they're tested on it, and he compares it to how they're really being trained to be good, law-abiding little taxpayers. And I love this guy. He's brilliant. I don't think my kids follow him so much now because they don't care. They're not in school and they haven't been. And then once they'd left school, they're both qualified crew and they work at the Dolphin Safari, and they're most likely this winter going to go off on the super yachts again, crewing on that. So school didn't do my children any favours. School didn't do me any favours. I hated school. Absolutely hated it. Graham hated it. And Graham's a very intelligent guy and he does loads of research. He didn't know the internet existed until we went on the run and I got a computer and I said, here you go, it's the thing called the internet. And there was no stopping him after that. Graham's really interested in history, geography, the Second World War, First World War. I mean, he's a mine of information and had a real thirst for knowledge. But I think the way the education system is at the moment, it just squashes the life out of kids. And I see that guy, Michael Moore, did a film on the schools in Finland where they don't have homework. I think they only do 3 days of school a week. Most of them speak 4 or 5 languages. They're fluent. They're allowed to learn what they want. They've got the best education system anywhere. I mean, I've no experience of Finnish schools, but I saw the Michael Moore thing, and I can well believe that. All kids are good at different things. And why does it what are your opinions? I'm really interested to know. What do you think about the education system at the moment? Because I think there is a generation at the moment that feel they've all been made to feel special and they're all very delicate. And I don't want to diss young people, but even my kids say this. They call them snowflakes. And they have to learn to do better, and they have to learn to educate themselves. And there's a lot of weirdness going on. And primarily, I blame it on the education system, which I think needs overhauling completely and utterly. Am I being totally unfair, or have any of you got similar experiences? And I will put Jennifer back where she's so be warned, anybody. There's loads of traps set around our place, and we have been educating Wally on how to make sure she stays safe. She's in a pretty safe place anyway, so don't worry about that. She's had a big week with her teeth, and I think she'll be doing a rumble soon. So, thoughts, please.